Hi, I'm Jim Ward of the Middle Country Public Library, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode in our History Bite series. Today, we will discuss a black explorer from Baltimore named Matthew Alexander Henson, who was the first African American to reach and stand on one of Earth's farthest reaches, the North Pole. Born on August 8, 1866, to a family of free-born sharecroppers in Nanjemoy, Maryland, and orphaned as a youth, Henson went to sea at the age of 12 as a cabin boy on the sailing ship Katie Hines. Later, while working in a store in Washington, D.C., he met Navy Corps of Civil Engineers Commander Robert Peary. Peary hired him in 1887 as a valet for his next expedition to Nicaragua in 1888. Peary, impressed with Henson's ability and resourcefulness, employed him as an attendant on his 7 subsequent expeditions to the Arctic. In 1909, Peary and Henson, accompanied by 4 Inuit, set out for the North Pole. When Commander Robert Peary ordered his team to make camp on April 6, 1909, he was not entirely certain that he had reached his objective. On his final expedition to the North Pole, the challenges of Arctic exploration were exacerbated by the complexities of terrestrial navigation. Though history initially gave credit to Peary for being the first person to reach Earth's northernmost point, one invaluable member of Peary's party was long overlooked in the record books: Matthew Henson. Exhausted from weeks of travel across the stark expanse of the polar ice cap, Peary had struggled to recover after the shock of plunging into the frigid open water of a sudden fissure the day before. Undaunted, the team that included 4 Inuit hunters pressed forward. Henson had also fallen in. "Faithful old Utah grabbed me by the nape of the neck, the same as he would have grabbed a dog," Henson wrote in his memoir. "And with one hand he pulled me out of the water and with the other hurried the team across." Perhaps in the confusion of enthusiasm for being so close to their goal, the team traveled north at a frantic pace for several more miles. As Peary struggled in the rear, they finally stopped for the night. "The commander, who was about 50 yards behind, called out to me and said we would go into camp," Henson wrote. With just a few hours of sleep to regain his strength on the morning of April 7th, Peary made careful measurements to determine their exact location. "We were now at the end of the last long march of the upward journey," Peary wrote in his book, The North Pole, Its Discovery in 1909 under the auspices of the Peary Arctic Club. "I was actually too exhausted to realize at the moment that my life's purpose had been achieved." By his calculations, the team had reached the North Pole. Henson confirmed Peary's account, quote, "The results of the first observation showed that we had figured out the distance very accurately, for when the flag was hoisted over the geographical center of the Earth, it was located just behind our igloos," Henson wrote. It seems odd that after such a long and successful partnership, the 2 men would become estranged from one another. With a difference of a few hours at most, it would have been reasonable to give Peary and Henson equal credit for having reached the North Pole together as a team. But the racially divisive climate of the time would not give an African-American man the same standing in the public eye for the accomplishment of such a monumental feat of human achievement. Peary was the recognized discoverer of the pole, while Henson was relegated to the role of trusty companion. Despite Henson's indispensable contributions to their efforts, for almost 20 years, he received very little acknowledgement. Matters only got worse when even Peary's claim of success was called into question. A member of a previous Greenland expedition, a man by the name of Frederick Cook, professed to have reached the North Pole 1 year earlier on April 21, 1908. But the controversy quickly faded when several individuals came forward with compelling evidence to dispute Cook's contrived story of discovery. Unfortunately, many doubts were raised to suggest that Peary had also failed to reach the North Pole. Several skeptics speculated that he missed the mark by several hundred miles. With few ways to verify the success of this kind of remote expedition, reports of a successful outcome were made on the honor system. Really, the only other person to back up Peary's story was Henson, as the 4 Inuit hunters didn't speak English. Though as a black man his testimony was likely deemed by many to be less than credible, the strength of his character, as substantiated by other members of the party, carried a great deal of weight in affirming the truth of their journey to the top of the globe. Throughout their expeditions, Peary took credit for their accomplishments, while Henson built and maintained all the sledges. He trained the other Western members of their team. Henson was fluent in the Inuit language and established a rapport with the native people of the region. He was known in the community as Maripalik, or Matthew the Kind One. Henson learned the methods the Inuit used to survive and travel safely through the Arctic. Henson was indispensable, team member Donald B. McMillan recalled in an article published in the April 1920 issue of National Geographic magazine, with years of experience equal to Peary himself. Whether or not the team actually reached the North Pole in 1909, all members of the expedition, including Henson, were critical to the endeavor. As Peary himself said while they were planning the journey, quote, "Henson must go all the way," he said. "I can't make it there without him." Thank you for joining us for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, click like, and if you watched on YouTube, hit subscribe. Thanks so much, and we'll see you all next time.